To me, being a fighter is more about being a martial artist and, you know, the competition. It's not about just getting in there and beating the crap out of somebody, you know. To me, it's always been just being better than somebody else and kind of showing the world and my instructors and everything I've learned, you know. Every time I've been in a class ever since I was 12 years old, I've always wanted to learn that move, be best at that move, and be better than everybody in the class. And that kind of just led to being a fighter. And it's no different to me now, you know. Ever since I did Taekwondo and karate, it's just all about, you know, getting better every time. And, you know, for example, like that last fight, I feel like was only about 60% of what I can do, maybe even less. You know, I didn't feel like I had a great showing. So, you know, it's always about improving yourself. There's no other feeling in the world like stepping into a cage where it's just you and another dude, and he's been doing the same 8 weeks, 10 weeks training camp, and it's just one night. I always compare it to, you know, when people do movies or plays or stuff like that, you have such and such a time, and then you have, you know, take and take and take to get it right. Or if it's a play, you have, you know, opening night and then nights after that. When it comes to fighting, you have one chance. So whether you're sick, whether you're not feeling great, there's no other adrenaline rush like, oh, well, here it is, it's time to go. So, I mean, that feeling of, you know, walking out, your music playing, and then, you know, they're putting the Vaseline on your face and your heart starts going. It's just, it's the most exhilarating thing that you could ever experience. From the first amateur fight I ever did, it hasn't changed. It's like, holy crap, I'm about to get into a cage with one other dude who's trying to kill me. And it's just, every time you're like, man, I don't even want to do this again. Why am I here? You know, that walk to the cage, you keep saying, why am I doing this? And then you get in there and that first punch gets thrown, and you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing this, because there's people screaming for you and watching you now all over the world. You know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable. Well, I got into martial arts when I was 12 years old, and it started because I watched a Jackie Chan movie, to be completely honest with you. I watched Rumble in the Bronx when I was about 12 years old, and I was like, holy cow, I want to do that. So I begged my parents. I said, Mom, I want to do, I guess, Kung Fu. I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. I just knew I wanted to learn how to kick like that and do backflips and do all that kind of craziness. So I begged for karate lessons for Christmas. And my mom didn't want to do it at first, you know, thought it was going to be too expensive, but I finally just begged. That's all I wanted. I didn't want clothes, I didn't want toys, I didn't want anything. I wanted to learn karate. And we went to a couple different places, and we finally found a spot that we thought, you know, suited me, and boom, from there, 12 years old, started doing, it was a mixture of Taekwondo and karate. And ever since then, I've been hooked since 12 years old. Now I'm 30, and yeah, so, you know, I did Taekwondo and karate and a little judo, and I did that until I was in my 20s. I got my first degree black belt when I was about 16 years old, so it didn't take me long to get my first black belt. I later got my second degree black belt, and I was all gung-ho for Taekwondo and traditional martial arts, but the competition level started to dwindle when I got in my early 20s. People started getting more into MMA and started hearing about Muay Thai kickboxing and stuff, so I'd already achieved a pretty high standard for Taekwondo. I competed, I was in the Junior Olympics. Like, I did all that you can really do other than going to the Olympics, basically, for Taekwondo. And I just, there was nobody really to compete with me anymore. Nobody really wanted to go hard. I was always getting in trouble for kicking and punching too hard. So eventually I was like, okay. I called this place up about Muay Thai kickboxing lessons. And the dude's like, just come in. There was no sign-up fee. It was just like this small hole in the wall. And I walked in and people were just crushing pads and kicking. I was like, oh, here we go. This is what I want to do. You mean to tell me I can just smash pads, punch, elbow, knee, and I'm okay? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong? And signed up right then and there. Got my shorts. So it's kind of like getting your black belt in, you know, Muay Thai. Didn't take me long to do that. And man, I never looked back. The difference between, you know, Muay Thai kickboxing and something like Taekwondo is they're both very heavy kick-based martial arts. You know, obviously Muay Thai is from Thailand. It's their, you know, national sport. And Taekwondo, which is Korean, you know, national sport as well. But Taekwondo, heavy emphasis on hook kicks, spinning kicks, everything's to the head, not a lot of punches. You also can't strike the legs. Muay Thai, very, heavy on leg kicks, knees to the body, hitting with elbows. So for MMA and what I was trying to go for, Taekwondo, I really couldn't, go as hard as I needed to and hit the places that I needed to hit. So something like Muay Thai kickboxing is really good for mixed martial arts because leg strikes, elbow strikes, knees, and that's kind of the difference between the two of those. They're both a good way to learn how to kick, and I think taking both of them and putting them together is a really good way to get your kick game up. But I wanted to just kick stuff really hard, and Muay Thai certainly teaches you to do that. Part of my game that was obviously missing was the mat and the floor. And if you've ever watched any MMA fight ever in your life, you realize it doesn't matter how good you are at kicking, punching, elbow, you're going to end up on your butt at some point. So I started doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I had done a little bit of judo, so I knew how to throw and I knew some basic holds and positions, but I started training with these MMA guys and I was getting tapped out by jiu-jitsu guys like nobody's business, and I got sick and tired of it. I lost my first fight as an amateur to a triangle choke, and I was like, okay, I never want to experience that ever again. So I started training in Philly, doing jiu-jitsu, and then, I was still a professional fighter, but I wasn't really getting the quality of jiu-jitsu training that I needed. And I started training with Daniel Gracie, and my mind got blown pretty much. I mean, his control and his methods and his way of teaching is second to none, just training with the Gracies. And, I started training with Jonathan Webb and all my teammates over at Renzo Gracie Philly. And then I started really feeling like a well-rounded martial arts. I finally am starting to feel comfortable on the ground with submissions, and my wrestling is getting better. And, I think that's the most important thing that any martial artist can learn. I think they should all wrestle in school. Go wrestle. If you ever want to do competitive martial arts, go and learn how to wrestle, then learn jiu-jitsu, then start striking and stuff like that. You got to start from the ground up, in my opinion. People that only know MMA, right? When I started, my base is in this. I'm a karate fighter. I'm a kickboxer. Okay, that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, now it's mixed martial arts, which to me means that everybody that's learning martial arts now is learning everything. How to grapple, how to do, a double leg from an overhand, straight to it, switching right into an arm bar. That's how I think martial arts should be taught now. I think we got so, like it was like a club before. It's like, no, my club's better than your club. And I think finally people started breaking down that wall and realizing, why are we trying to compare styles when we can all train the same stuff and be full, well-rounded martial artists? So nowadays, that's what these kids are learning. I mean, and that's what I think is going to change martial arts. Is I think we're all going to just be more open-minded. I know of fighters now that are always trying to get me to teach them Taekwondo kicks because they saw that I landed a spinning hook kick. I mean, these are guys that 5 years ago would have made fun of me because I did Taekwondo, or made fun of, oh, you're a karate fighter? Pfft, you don't know how to fight then. I'm a wrestler. I'll take you down. It's like, well, now you try to take me down, I'm going to submit you, because we're learning everything. So this is my one of my favorite toys. This is my CFFC lightweight belt. I won it in March. I defeated Mark Stevens. I TKO'd him. And I just recently defended it in August against Craig Johnson. I won by a spinning hook kick. So I think the CFFC is definitely the reason that I got to where I am now, which is obviously fighting with the UFC. I think they're the best regional organization that there is. I think if you want to make it to the UFC, you want to get one of these, to be completely honest with you. They've got a record of sending multiple champions to the UFC. I think it's just a hotbed of the best up-and-coming fighters right now. And, I fought some of the best guys out there with them, and then I got the call because of these guys to fight, my UFC debut, which is, if you're in the MMA, I mean, it's like getting drafted to the NBA, to the NFL. I mean, it's hard to describe how excited I was when we finally got the call to go and fight, and to go overseas and fight in Canada on their turf, and we beat their boy. So this is what it's about right here. I mean, if you do martial arts, MMA, if you've ever thrown a punch or a kick and wanted to compete, if you've ever wrestled and you want to continue to compete at the highest level, this is what it is right here. I mean, when I beat Craig Johnson, it was August 9th. It was a Saturday night. The following night, I was out. We were having dinner, having some drinks with, my girlfriend, my manager, and everybody started showing up from my team. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Everybody's showing up to just hang out. It's the day after the fight. We're all just relaxing. And Daniel Gracie, my coach, he's like, all right, cheers to the UFC. And I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? If we get the call. And he's like, no, man, you got the call. And my manager pulled out his phone, and it was an email from Joe Silva with the, 4-fight contract and all that kind of stuff. And, it was overwhelming. I mean, I broke down a little bit and started crying, and I just called my mom, and I'm like, I did it. All these years of, taking the bus to the gym, walking with my, bag full of sparring gear and everything all the way to the gym, and not having a car, not having an apartment, not having money. And it's like, now, finally, it's all been worth it. When you're doing something that you really love, and it's kind of a high-risk thing that you're going after, acting, fighting, any sport, people are always going to tell you you're not going to make it, you're wasting your time, go get a real job. How many times I was told, go get a real job, you're broke, you're wasting your life. All that, it depends on you. If you really want something, I mean, you gotta really want it, because you can't be like, well, I want to do this, and then not really go for it. You gotta work your butt off, but you can do it. And I'm telling you, I had so many people try to convince me that I shouldn't be fighting, that it's a waste of time. And I've always been one of those people that if I want something, I'm gonna get it. I wanted that championship belt, I got it. I wanted to keep it, I got it. I wanted to get to the UFC, and I told everybody that I trained with, and all my family and all my friends, people that started to slowly doubt me, I said, listen to me. It's going to be worth it. Just give me a little bit of time. I know I'm, kind of weighing you guys down right now, and I'm getting older, but I promise you it's going to be worth it, and you're going to regret ever saying that I couldn't do it. And, well, here you go, guys. So just stick with it.